Hi, everybody. Welcome to Capital to the Coast BNI. My name is Mike Manning. Each week, we bring you a local small business success story from one of our chapters covering the Triangle, which is Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, all the way to the coast of Wilmington, North Carolina. And our goal each week is to help each other grow our business. And if you're not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. And our little slice of heaven here, Triangle to Wilmington, 41 chapters, meeting each week. And we're here to help each other. And I did not know there's no local small business success story today because it was news to me. Today is a holiday for some people. So some folks I'd reached out to for the show told me they weren't working Monday. So I'm like, okay. And I was off all last week as well. So what the heck? So we're going to do some training today. All right, I know some of you folks out there have a business. Some of you folks network. So we're going to talk about one of the many things to learn in BNI is our elevator pitch. And if you're not familiar with what an elevator pitch is, that's literally what you stand up and introduce yourself and talk about your company. And they call it an elevator pitch because we have to be succinct and very specific because you have to look at it as the average ride in an elevator up 3 floors. That's how much time you have. Usually it's 30 seconds. Sometimes it's a minute, depending on the size of the chapter. And this works at Chamber of Commerce events, any kind of networking event. Or if somebody just says, hey, Mike, tell me what you do. I need to be prepared to tell you I do this, and I don't need 4 minutes to tell you because I will probably lose your interest. But I need to be able to explain it succinctly. So you know what I'm doing instead of me saying, oh, I do this. And that probably not going to lead to a conversation of some sort. So that's the goal in the elevator pitches and at BNI meetings each week. This is at the beginning of the meeting, and we go around the room and the members do their elevator pitch. And then when the members are done, the visitors get to go. So we get to hear from visitors on what they do. A lot of times with visitors, most people in the room don't know who they are. So it's a good chance to hear from them. But the problem is, and I did this too when I joined BNI back in late 2013. My brother and I had a commercial cleaning business. And I thought I was doing very good by telling everybody that we could clean any office in the Triangle. And that was factually incorrect because we couldn't. There are some taller buildings in the North Hills area, some taller buildings downtown that we could not clean because we just didn't hire enough people. We didn't want to be that big, but it took me a few months to figure out probably need to get a little bit better at doing this. So one day we got a call from a doctor's office and in Cary, and they had 3 exam rooms. And my brother and I went to meet the doctor, and it worked out perfectly because that was our wheelhouse. It could be cleaned by one person, and that helped us understand who we needed to look for. So I could go clean it by myself one night. We had one other employee at that time, and he could have done that by himself as well. It did not need the both of us. And so it was really funny. My brother and I cleaned it for the first time together, and we kept just walking past each other over and over again. We must have walked into each exam room 10 times. And finally, about halfway through the clean, we both stopped, got out a sheet of paper, and started scribbling stuff down. And we learned that when you go into one of the exam rooms, if there's 2 of you, the first one in turns the light on, and here's the checklist in the room. And then when the second one goes in to do whatever they need to finish up doing, when they're done, they turn the light off. And we thought, wow, we just invented something, which we didn't, but we thought it was a pretty good idea. And that helped us be more efficient. So that involves pricing better and being more competitive. But anyways, so the next week at my BNI meeting, I mentioned, hey, we just picked up a small doctor's office. I would like to meet your dentist, doctor, or chiropractor if they would to talk to them about how we can help keep their offices clean. And it may be once a week, maybe 3 times a week. It didn't matter to us. We're just looking for business. And sure enough, the phone started ringing. So that's why we need to be very specific. So I'm going to go over a couple things for everyone on what a good elevator pitch is. So The first thing is it's your chance to be listened to by everyone in the meeting, or at least for 45 seconds or so. They're supposed to be listening to you. I do enough training. I know not everybody listens, but that's fine. So you might want to make it a mini marketing campaign. So let's say you wanted to meet people that travel. All right. So set up a plan for 3 straight weeks. You talk about that, but each time there's a different reason why they need to hire you. Okay. You may need to watch their house. You may need to watch their dog. You may be a travel agent. And here's 3 different ways I help people, things like that. So it's always good to practice, which most people don't do. When I do my training, uh, full chapter training, one of the homework assignments I give people is I want you to record your elevator pitch on your phone for audio and video because you need to hear you how we hear you. Now, I don't know about a lot of you, but I'm a member of the Fast Talker Club. When I get very fired up about something, I get talking fast. But years ago, somebody said, you need to record yourself. I did not understand what you said. And I heard myself. It's like, wow, that's way too fast. So you need to hear you how we hear you because some folks are fast talkers like me. Some people are mumblers. Some people aren't prepared. So they're like, well, my business. And then they look up like they're looking for another thought, which tells me they didn't prepare. All right. So you need to hear you how the rest of the room is hearing you. And then 2 things will come down to content that you need to hear. One of those is something you said, and the message was right, but it was a little clunky. It wasn't worded right. So you rewrite it, and then you say it again. You hear yourself say it and go, okay, that's how I want it to come across. And the other thing you're going to learn is you're going to say something so good, you're going to keep it in every elevator, just about every elevator pitch you ever have. But you're only going to know that if you scout yourself. And many of my analogies are sports related. So all of the good teams scout themselves. Football teams what plays do we call the same plays on 3rd and 1? Baseball players, do I swing at the same bad pitch, low and away from me, things like that. But you're only going to know that if you scout yourself. So that's why it's important to record yourself so you know what you're saying. The biggest mistake we make, and again, all of these are things I did, so I'm coming from a place of knowledge on this. I'm not picking on anybody because I used to do it. Is we feel like I've got 45 seconds. I need to explain the history of my company to tell everybody how awesome we are. And corporate speak doesn't work. Let me tell you that right now. If I want to know more about your corporation in detail, I'm going to go to your website. I'll Google you, but I don't need to hear the 17 things you do and how awesome you think your company is. I will decide that when I meet you and use you. Okay. We don't ask for anything, but in life, we ask for things. Hey, Mike, do you know of a good restaurant? Hey, Mike, got an email this morning from one of our previous guests. Hey, Mike, I'm looking for a limo service. Do you know of one? Well, I found her one because she asked. Limo service, right? But in elevator pitch time, we feel like we have to brag and we have to tell people what we do. If you're a carpet cleaner, I got it. That's all I need to know. So now we get into a story. But so let me back up here a quick second. So the thing to think about in your elevator pitch is you're going to say something so good that somebody wrote it down. I want to meet families with 2 young kids because I help with this. Or I want to meet people that travel a lot because I can help them with this. But if you say, and again, the difference between an ask and a tell is if I stand up and I say, I love working with realtors, that's not an ask, that's a tell. So that's fine if you tell me, but then you got to tell me why you like working with realtors. Because let's say I'm a brand new realtor and Amnon has been a realtor for 20 years. And somebody says, hey, I've got 2 realtors I'd love to introduce you to. Mike, who just started, and Amnon, who's been in the business for 20 years. And that person would say usually, "Well, I don't really wanna meet Mike. He's not selling any houses yet, so he's probably not ready for me. And Amnon's been doing this so long, he probably has people in his Rolodex. He knows carpet cleaners and all these people. I don't think that'll work." And my only response back to people is, "But you didn't say that in your elevator pitch. You just said, 'I like working with realtors.' There was an invitation to introduce you to 2 realtors, and you turned them both down." So that's why we have to be very specific on our ask, what type of realtor do you wanna meet? There are different types of realtors. There's new realtors, there's experienced realtors, there's boutique, there's realtors that own a boutique firm. They work on very specific type of houses and certain neighborhoods, stuff like that. There's the Keller Williams of the world. The Apex office, I think, has 42 realtors. Tell us that, right? You're never going to meet 42, but you got a chance of meeting somebody. Okay. So don't get so caught up in telling us what you do that you never ask us to help you. So if I don't ask you to help me get introduced to somebody, you're going to wait for someone to say that to you and you're going to help them before you're going to help me. Because if I say I love working with realtors and you think, "All right, I'm gonna go talk to Mike, but I don't know if I'm gonna get any more information out of him for that." And if you've got to pull information out of me to help me, you're probably gonna move on to someone else. So we need to make it easier for people to help us. It's the line from the Jerry Maguire movie, "Help me, help you." All right. So we want to say something so good that somebody wrote it down at when you sit down, they look at you and go, "Let's talk afterwards. I know somebody." Right. So here's we talked about what not to do. It's the corporate speak. Please don't do that because I'm going to be honest with you, that bores me. I'm not going to stay focused to everything you're saying, and probably a lot more people in the room are more on my side than the other side, right? One of the things we don't want to say is I've been in business for 20 years. While I congratulate you, I don't know what that means. You may have a spouse that's making $400,000 a year, and you have one client that allows you to rent your office space and say, "Well, I'm a insurance person." I don't know what 20 years means, and I really don't not interested in when you tell me I've got 255-star reviews. If I don't know you, I don't know what that means. Now, if you read me a review during your elevator pitch, now you have my interest. Okay. But just telling people, "Oh, I've got 255-star reviews on our website." I got a friend of mine that can create a bot that could write 50 5-star reviews for me probably by Friday. So again, I don't know what that means. All right. So no corporate speak. We need to ask for something and we need to record ourselves to practice. So when it is your turn to talk, stand up before you start talking and don't be sliding your chair back in underneath the table so that noise drowns out your name and your company. You stand up, you push your chair in if you need to, and then you start talking. You talk slow and tell us your name and your company. But again, you need to speak so everyone can hear you. And if you're looking down, or if you're sliding a chair in, or if you're kind of turned this way, not everybody's going to be listening. So this is a professional opportunity for you to stand up. The whole room, you're the only one talking for 30, 45, or 60 seconds, right? So we need to take advantage of that. A brief description of your company, not the history of your company. That's for a one-to-one when you and I go have a cup of coffee and we've got probably more than 60 seconds to talk. That's when we talk about the other things your company does and my company does. So you're going to stand up, you're going to give us your name, your company name, and a brief description if you need to do that. Realtors don't really need a description. Carpet cleaners don't need a description. Financial advisor kind of does. A bookkeeper might. Some other coaching types might. An event planner might. So we can kind of understand, okay, I know what you do now, right? So once we give our name, our company name, and a brief description of what we do, we're done with the what. Because you as consumers, you buy the how and the why. And that's what we need to tell you how you need to refer us to people and why you need to refer me to people that you know because I can help them. And I go back to the how and the why. My wife is very good on Amazon, very good. She finds deals all the time. Doesn't necessarily need them right now, but she knows in time she will. Puts them in the cart. She knows it's going to sit there for a while, and eventually Amazon's going to drop the price, and she's going to buy it. And her how and why and the value of doing business with her is she opens the door the next morning, and poof, there's the package. That's why she shops there. That's why she continues to hire Amazon every day. I, on the other hand, am one of the few people in life that will tell you I love shopping at Walmart. It is my place. I love the people watching. I go for the prices. That's what got me in, but I stay for the scenery. And I tell people about that. Give me airports and Walmart every day. I'm a happy guy. But that's my value with Walmart. Okay. So that's what people are buying. So think about yourself as the consumer. Where do you spend money? If you shop for clothes, there's probably one or two stores you really go to. Talk about restaurants. There's probably one or two, maybe three that you go to. Is there a type of car you're looking for? All right. We're looking for the how and the why and the value because we can find a car, we can find a restaurant, we can find a store that sells clothes, but that's not what we want to purchase. There's something those places do for us that we find value. So that's why we need to get into the how and the why. So your name, your company name, a brief description of what you do, and then we're going to get into telling a story about the reason why people hire you and what you've done for a current client. So in the story, a couple things happen. One is you are happy to tell it because you experienced it and you helped the client. It will settle some of your public speaking nerves down because you don't have to remember 13 things. You don't have to look up in the sky to remember what was number 9. I'm nervous, all that. You tell a story. Time goes by fast, folks, when you're telling a story. But the other thing is your posture changes and your body language changes. Your hands and your smile come into play. And we love stories. I tell people all the time, what's the story you want people to describe you with on why your friends and clients should hire you? Because you could say, "Oh, Mike, you need to call him. He's been doing this 20 years." All right, well, that's not a solution. Okay, that's good. I don't know what it means, but it's good. But we're buying solutions. We go searching for something to grow our business. We're looking for a solution to start it, to grow it, to learn something, to meet somebody, all of that good stuff. Former guest on the show, Herschel Pleasant. This was, I think we had Herschel on before COVID, whenever that was. And Herschel is a commercial realtor. And I said, all right, give me a story. And he said one day, this was before COVID. I think Herschel and I met in like 2018, I think it was. And he was telling me a story. He had a client that wanted to buy some property in the Triangle. And Herschel had to negotiate with 4 different municipalities to get the deal done. And he got it done. Okay. So now when you come to me and say, Mike, I need a commercial realtor, I'm trying to do this. And I say, I'm going to connect you with my friend Herschel, but here's why. So that story is going to gain a lot of interest from you because I could tell you Herschel's a wonderful human being, which is true. I could tell you he's been doing this for at least 12 years, if not more, and that is true. But those aren't solutions for you. The solution is he negotiated with 4 different municipalities to get that deal done. That's what you are looking for. So your clients have your elevator pitches written for the rest of your natural life. Because what I'll tell people to do is over the weekend or 2 days before their meeting, whenever, however it works out, look back on your previous week of client interactions and just tell the best story. Because that's what people are buying. They're buying a solution. In every story, there's a solution. I always ask my realtor friends, how many houses did you show a person or a couple in a given weekend? And usually the answer is anywhere from 12 to 25. And my only follow-up question is, let me guess that the house they bought probably wasn't the last house you showed them. And to a person, they all said, absolutely not. Said, so that means if you showed me and my wife 12 houses and we bought the third one you showed us nine more houses. That's what people are buying. The value of, yeah, let's go. I've got a couple more listings, Mike. Let's go take a look at these, see if these are, see what you think of this. But that's what people are buying. They're not buying a realtor that says, Mike, here are the 14 houses I found for you. Why don't you go check them out and call me if you like any of them? That's not what people are buying. Okay. So again, stories sell. That's because in the story, there's a solution. So we've got your name, your company name, a brief description of what you do, and then a story because that there's a solution in there, and that's the how and the why people are buying. All right. So let's take a look at some potential elevator pitches should any of these industries include you. So realtors have it hard, and I feel bad for them because we can't really explain. There's not a lot of demographics for realtors. Oh, I only sell houses to people that are between the ages of 25 and 45 and have one kid. That's not going to work, right? So what they ask for is, I would like to meet your friends or clients. I always say three things: your friends, your family, and your clients. You can use all three or one at a time, however you want to, that are even thinking about buying in the next 9 or 10 months, because the realtor wants to meet them today to get that relationship started. They know they have a long runway before, if I get introduced to them today and I'm not looking to buy till January 1, they're going to want to meet me because there's conversations we can have. They're going to make sure I'm qualified for the house I want. All of these things. We're going to kind of get a sense of what part of the town or what part of the area I want to live in, things like that. So they want to meet me now. I'm not buying a house in the next month. I'm not buying a house before Thanksgiving. I said after the new year, and they're fine with that. So those are the asks if you're a realtor. You also want to meet mortgage lenders who have pre-qualified somebody, but they might not have a realtor. So those are things you would ask if you're a realtor. If you're a financial advisor, money, health, and wealth are two personal, uncomfortable things to talk about. We don't share a lot of that. We share travel, we share buying a new car, we share having a kid, all that stuff. We don't usually lead with people. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Well, Amnon, thanks for asking, but what business? I think I'm going to have to close my business because it's not going good. I'm not going to lead with that. Okay. So in the financial world, if you're a financial advisor, you're looking for people. They use the phrase money in motion, but don't say it that way because most people don't use that phrase. But if you have money in motion means if you have a friend that on July 1st just took a brand new job and you know them well enough, you would ask them, hey, Mike, what are you doing with your 401k at your previous company? That's what a financial advisor asks for when they talk about money in motion or people in transition, changing jobs, moving from city to city. Maybe they inherited some money, things like that. Again, you got to be specific. You can't say, hey, I want to meet anybody you know, which is a horrible line. I want you to make me think of my friends, my family, my clients. So I want to meet your friends, family, or clients that just want to have a better plan for retirement. Don't know if that's enough. Now, in a one-to-one, you could probably talk a little bit more detailed work on that, but that sometimes in 45 seconds, not enough. Landscapers, pressure washers, painters, they're looking for generally the high-end neighborhoods. So people have the money to pay them. They're busy. They may travel a lot. They may just figure like, you know what? I've earned the right not to cut my grass ever again. That's fine. And they also want their house to look the best in the neighborhood. So those are things you ask for. The clients you have, the family you have that don't want to cut their grass anymore because they want to do something else on a Saturday. And they want their yard to be the best. So I'd say it to the guys. So all of your buddies, like Mike, how do you keep your lawn so good? That matters to them. So again, you got to know who your ideal client is on how to ask for them. Dog sitters, very easy one, very easy one. You're looking for people that travel and they can't take their dog with them and they will never board their dog. So as a pet sitter, you charge the same price, maybe even a little bit more than what they would pay to board their dog because it's worth it paying a little bit extra to have their dog sleep in their own house at night. And when you go over there every morning to feed their dog and let their dog out, you're going to take a picture or you're going to take some video and send that to your client. Mary Stocks has been on the show before. That's what separates her is she sends video to her clients of their dog each day. Huge, because if you're a dog owner and your dog ranks ahead of some of your family members, you know the value of getting that video, okay? So those are the things you're asking for. I want to meet your friends and clients that travel and have a dog and sometimes can't take the dog with them. Or they're one of your friends is single, they have a dog, and they just can't get home by 6 o'clock at night. I can go over there and let the dog out 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they can feed the dog when they get home. So you have to look at the scenarios that your clients are in, and that's what you provide. Chiropractors, again, health and wealth, right? So for chiropractors, a lot of times, and I go to one as well, I'm a little bit older. So I think there's some gray hair on the camera here. Can't tell how much. There's so little left on my head. There's more on my chin than my head. But my back hurts. Okay. My back hurts. And usually for chiropractors, they want to meet people that have had to stop doing something, but they want to get started doing it again, walking around the neighborhood, playing tennis, running, whatever it is. That's what they ask for. So you ask that, so we think of our friends who are always complaining, "Oh god, I'd love to get back doing this, but with my back or this, that, or the other." It's like, I'm gonna introduce you to my chiropractor, okay? Restoration people. Now here's a hard one because we generally don't need a restoration company until we have a flood in our house. There's a bad storm, a pipe breaks. So we don't schedule any work with restoration people. So a lot of times they have to ask for referral partners. More times than not, we're asking for clients, but sometimes we have to ask for referral partners. So restoration people, they want to meet all the insurance people you can introduce them to because when as a homeowner, if I've got a flood and I don't know a restoration company, I call Heather, my insurance person. Heather, we got a flood here. Do you know any restoration people? So that's why the restoration people want to meet as many property and casualty insurance agents they provide the home insurance as they can meet. Okay. So sometimes you need two lists of asks. You need a list of clients, and then you need a list of referral partners that will hopefully send you more than one client at a time. Financial advisors need bookkeepers. They need CPAs. CPAs and bookkeepers need financial advisors because they can share clients with that. So that's the other way. That's the other thing you need to think about, right? So you're going to you're going to stand up quietly and you're going to start talking about your name. You're going to give us your company name. You're going to give us a brief description about what you do. And then you're going to share a story with us. And then you're going to ask. You're going to tell us a story about Jim and Susie who just moved from Madison, Wisconsin. And then you're going to ask, I want to meet the people you know, your family, your friends, your client, that are getting ready to move to the area or have just moved here. And here's why. So you told us you told us who you wanted to meet, and then you told us why you wanted to meet them. Okay. I go back to, don't know how old you are, the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote cartoon. Wile E. Coyote was never going to catch the Roadrunner, but if he did, he didn't know what to do with him. That's why you don't say, I love meeting realtors. Okay, I know a bunch of realtors, but what do I do with them? Do I tell them what? And they're going to say, oh yeah, hey Jenny, my friend Amnon wants to meet you. Okay, how come? I don't know. He just told me he wanted to meet realtors. That's not a good introduction. Okay. So we're going to give name, company name, brief description, then a story, then the ask. You need to practice that so you can get it. You can do it in 30, you can do it in 45, you can do it in 60. Like you know what you're doing. Generally, people want to hire professionals who have their act together. They know what they're doing. They know who they're looking for. So that's what goes into an elevator pitch. It sounds like a lot, but what's your point of the elevator pitch? Is your point to brag or is your point to get business? That's why many of us join BNI is to get business. But I've got to help you help me by telling you literally who I want to be introduced to every week. My BNI chapter is my sales team. If I just say, hey, go find me some business, I'm a carpet cleaner, that's not an ask. And they shouldn't have to knock on every door for me. I should tell them this week or maybe for the month of July, here's who I'm looking to meet. And imagine if you did that. Let's say you do 2 or 3 networking events or 3 or 4 networking events a week. And at every one of those, you got an introduction. That's a good week because you should know your closing rate. With every 5 potential clients I meet, I get 2 of them or whatever it is. So if you know you get 4 introductions a week, you know on average how many new clients you're going to get a week. So we need to help ourselves here with the specific ask. And then during the meeting, once you're done, before and after you're done talking, listen to other people's elevator pitches, take notes. There may be a connection. Each week in BNI, there's probably anywhere from 3 to 6 people that stand up and say they want to meet property managers. So if you're in a chamber, another leads group, BNI, whatever group you're in, and you truly want to develop relationships, listen to what others are asking for. So if 3 of you say, I want to meet as many property managers as I can, go grab those other 2 people after the meeting, set up a time for a cup of coffee or lunch or whatever it is, Zoom call, doesn't matter, about putting a plan together for the 3 of you to meet as many property managers as you can. But you got to listen because the resources are there for you if you listen to what others are looking for because they're probably in the same boat you are. It's kind of tough for me to cover a lot of ground. I really want to meet these. So now you got 3 of you. You divide and conquer. You make a list of the top 20 property managers in the Triangle or Wilmington or wherever you are. And let's start on this list. First of all, do any of the 3 of us know anybody on this list? And one of you is going to know somebody. You probably may know or may know somebody there in 4 or 5 of the company. Okay. But you get your game plan together. When you call on that company, here's why I'd love an introduction. Here's why can we come present to your team of property managers? A lot of times in the real estate world, insurance world, they'll invite other service providers in. You got to bring lunch or breakfast, but that's fine. But you get to meet most all the other agents in the office. So things like that, but you got to put a plan together, right? So we stand up, we give our company name, we give our name, excuse me, then our company name, then a brief description of what we do, then a story about how we help the client, give us their first name, humanize them. I can't picture a client the other day, but I can picture Jim and Susie last weekend. Okay, so humanize them so I can picture that. Then we're going to ask, and then we're going to sit down and we're going to take notes, figure out who else is asking for these people, and how can we get together and put a plan in place so we can speed up the process of making more money. So wherever you go, folks, with your business, even if somebody stops you on the street, Mike, hey, tell me what you do. I need to be prepared. I don't need to say, well, it's kind of, I do a lot of things. I can help people with this and then 9 different types of people I've just told you. No. Now I'm going to pick 1, 2 at the most. Okay. So be very intentional with your elevator pitch. Be very intentional with that. You get to do that every week. It needs to mean something because everybody's supposed to be listening to you for that 30, 45, or 60 seconds. So make it work. My email's on the screen all the time, openmictalk@gmail.com. Happy to chat with you on that. Kind of good at helping people with their elevator pitches. I've been doing this for a while. But even if you're just starting up, you need to create a good one. And then eventually you need to have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different elevator pitches, depending on what happened in the last couple of weeks. Also, depending on what group you're meeting with. You may give a different elevator pitch to lawyers than you would a stay-at-home mom or a retiree. You just might. Okay, so you need to be prepared like a good comedian. Got to know your audience. You can't give the same audience. You can't give every audience the same speech. It's not going to work. You need to tailor it to them. So Amnon, did I miss anything? You've given enough elevator pitches in your day, and you have one of those seats that's kind of not difficult to explain, but you have to educate us.
You have to educate people. I mean, it's to say that you're an internet service provider or that you're a studio,
Yeah.
new media.
Yep.
I mean, you have to educate him. But the main thing, and I will never forget it,
Hopefully, it was something good I told you one day.
it is you cannot say we're a full
Mm,
service.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
and
we
that came from Jim
Jim
Bowdish.
Bowdish, yeah, who friend of the show with Edward Jones. There's another thing you can't say, and thank you for reminding me of that. I'm going to add that to notes for the next training I do. I'm a full. We provide full service. What does that mean? It's kind of like when, if you've ever heard anybody say, we treat our clients like family. So if I don't know you, I'm going to ask you, is that Modern Family? Is that the Kardashians? Is that the Waltons, the Cosbys? What family are you going to introduce me to, or worse, treat me like? So full service means what? Now, that doesn't mean three things you do very well. So full service, if you're a full service mechanic, oh, so you come pick up my car. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, no, Mike, we don't do that. Yeah, but you said full service. So be very careful. We treat clients like family. I go the extra mile for my clients. We're full service. If there's no context on that, folks, don't know what it means. If I don't know you, if I just met you and I heard you say, we go the extra mile for our clients, I have no idea what that means. That may mean working 4 days a week for you. I have no idea. For others, it may mean we answer the phone 24/7. Okay, tell me that. That'd be good to know. I'll make a note by that. So if somebody ever asks for somebody in your industry, and I know you guys answer the phone 24/7, I'm going to make a note of that. So, but yes, I love
Yeah,
the full service. Don't do it. Just you got to be specific. This is not the time to brag, but telling a story is not bragging because you actually did it. And again, in that story, there's a solution. So be very careful what you say, but be very intentional on the message you're creating on why we should introduce you to the people we know. So
yeah.
all good with that?
Oh yeah.
Elevator pitch, folks, is crucial. I think everything starts there. I truly do, because if I don't know how to help you, I'm going to listen for someone else who gave me a reason to help them. They told me they wanted to meet brand new realtors. I don't care if they've ever done a transaction yet. I want to meet brand new realtors, and here's why. Versus, oh, I love working with realtors. Okay, what does that mean? So again, be very intentional on that. So
And you may feel like you're losing something by
yes,
not saying it,
yes,
but you don't,
you are not. You are not.
because today you talk about A, B,
Mhm.
C, and D, and next week A, B, C, and D, and then you change to E, F, G,
Yeah.
and H,
Yep.
or you mix them.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're missing anything.
Right. So you don't want any client, and you don't want every client, because mathematically, you can't service 42 people that call you today. And some of them are going to be tire kickers, and couple of them you're going to have to fire one day. So we are asking for ideal clients, and an ideal client appreciates the value you provide. They like your product and service, but there's always something else. Again, I go back to you as the consumer. Where do you shop versus other places? Because there's some value that you get from this place that you don't get from the others. That's what people are buying. Okay. So always keep that in mind. You don't want any or every client. You only want to ask for ideal clients. So here's another homework assignment for you. First one I gave you was record your elevator pitch on your phone. The second one is look at your three favorite clients. What do they have in common? Why are they your three favorite clients? So now let's craft some elevator pitches around that so you can only ask for the people you want. Now you're thinking, like Amnon said, ooh, Mike, that's going to rule out a lot of potential clients for me. No, not really. It's going to rule out the bad ones you don't want. If you fired a client before, we don't want to ask for them anymore. Very freeing experience to fire a client, okay? Because they probably had it coming. So you want to be very specific on that ask as to who you want. You want your world to be a foot wide and a mile deep. I have a chiropractor and a massage therapist. They have each changed location of their business from the time I started going to them. And I told them, I don't care where you are in the triangle, I come to you. You're the only one I go to. I'll drive to Mebane. I'll drive to Greenville for you. And that's how good they are. Right? That's who we want as an ideal client. We just want to stack ideal clients on top of each other. So we're dealing with the people we want that appreciate our value. They pay us full price, and they probably have sent us new clients. So that's why you don't want to say, oh, I want to meet anybody that owns a car. No, you don't. No, you don't. I want to meet anybody that owns a house. No, you don't. You don't. Okay. Because what, $1 million house or a single wide? Yeah, big difference. But you get my point on that. So, anyways, shoot me a note, openmictalk@gmail.com. Happy to answer any questions for you, help you along the way. But this is why the elevator pitch is so good. And we will see everybody next time on Capital to the Coast BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.